Lifestealer, which is usually what teams are. When you give away the first big Centaur, you're looking at Lifestealer in order to get this strong 1v1 opportunity and allow your supports to be able to go and do other things around the map. Instead, they choose Ursa, very similar fashion, lane dominator, that is going to be able to threaten the Centaur. It is also a potential mid laner if it, some sort of weird melee mid comes out for Faceless. Also, Ursa is threatening some of the hero choices for Faceless. I think Faceless is one of the few teams that would actually opt for an earlier Timbersaw pickup, but that is obviously not really viable with Earth Spirit and Ursa.
Don't you think it was a little early? Because Ursa's main weakness is, being able to be kited out. I feel like Team Faceless can kind of plan around this, Get some more mobile heroes, get some people that can save each other.
A bit, but I think that your Ursa is not like the linchpin to your draft, right? I think it's going to be your mid. Like, this is what Team Empire does. They usually draft, it's like a semi-carry for champion, more of the hard carry for FN in the mid lane. So that is going to be the important hero that cannot be countered. Ursa is going to be more of a space creator in this regard. So if he does get counter picks or whatever, that's okay because there's more reliant on FN and his matchup in this game.
Empire taking a lot of time over this final ban. Why?
Well, a lot of people that can mess them up right there. Tinker. Interesting. Well, they're going to go with the Tinker ban? Huh. I've seen him only once today. And it did not work out.
We've seen him a couple of times on the mainstream.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And done very effectively as well. EG picked it up in their second game against MP.
Yeah. Strong choice versus the Meepo here. Some of the mids that are left in the pool, Ember is still out there. OD
still there.
Where were some of the SF, I think, was there as well. I think OD is probably one of the out there. He's rather disruptive for Ursa. The other one, Ember Spirit, for example, even SF, they are hard-pressed by an Ursa that's out of control. OD is a really great controller for the Ursa because he can't rely on that enrage, right? You want to be disruptive. You can't allow that Ursa to just beat down a hero and just shrug off whatever disables you throw at him. So OD is probably one of the better heroes, but he is slow. That is a bit of the problem with OD in this current patch. He's slower than most others, which does mean that we're going to have a pretty aggressive safe laner, I think. There's Jug's not great versus Ursa. We've got Terrorblade still in the pool.
Could I sell you a carry Venge? Huh? Swaps out?
Yeah, kinda. I'm not like, I don't really feel the synergy with the rest of the team necessarily, but
I've seen it picked up a lot against the Ursa because you could save people.
Yeah, I do like it versus Ursa. Yeah,
I
agree with you there.
So, well, let's see here. Interested in anything to say about the Witch Doctor? It is his first time picked up. We haven't seen him too much. A little bit of bursty damage, a little bit of anything you need. They're going to go for Ogre. All right. It's a little bit of meat on the front lines. Sure.
It makes OD more viable as a carry. Comes online faster thanks to the Bloodlust. Attack speed is particularly valuable for that hero. I don't really have much to say about Witch Doctor. I think he's just kind of like, he's the second tier of laning phase supports. He's not as good as Dazzle or Warlock or Coddle, but he can get the job done. His cask is particularly valuable against a lot of melee cores, and obviously you're looking at a lot of close quarters with Ursa and Earth Spirit openers, so I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's great. I think it's just kind of mediocre. Leaves your draft open.
That's a lot of people say that about me, so that's good. Faceless, though, I feel like they have a very, they have a lot of choices that they can do with their draft. There's a lot of different things that they can do. A lot of damage from different places, a lot of stuns. Empire, they got a lot of single target, some steals. Now with the Bat Rider, even more. It's mostly a positioning line up there. Do they have what it takes to get that positioning off?
I think Nyx Assassin would have been your better. Oh wait, it was banned in the first one too. Was this really their best offlaner choice? Bat Rider against Centaur OD. I can't say I'm a big fan of it, but
could work, Cap. Come on, don't be so negative. Bat Rider can swoop in. What if he grabs the OD? Then you're good. right?
Yeah.
Think positive, capitalist.
I'm thinking positive. I don't think it's like terrible. I just thought there was better offlaners in the pool, but I guess most of them were the good ones were banned away, like Nyx. I didn't even notice Timbersaw was first banned.
No, you got it.
Because we didn't talk about the first phase at all. So
hey, take it easy, all right? You're the one with your monologues over here. I'm just trying to survive. Jesus. Anyway, respect ban coming out there from the Troll Warlord. We have seen Team Empire run that pretty darn well this entire time. So no surprise there for Team Faceless, but that leaves us with the big question of who is going to be that last big hitter. I could be smart here and say Terrorblade again, but, you know, that'd be too risky for me.
Yep, still there.
Brains?
Brains.
They could draw the game out with Naga versus
If they
OD.
play Naga on the last series of the day after a 14-hour day,
I think Jake might need a bed.
I'm down with it. Let's go.
Yeah, I think we have some sleeping bags outside.
Woo!
Valve,
okay.
you gotta give us a draft overlay that includes. You know that they made that new draft overlay and they didn't put it for spectators. You gotta see heroes.
Where
you know?
you can see the heroes that haven't been picked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
with
real hard
100,
just
with
to
112 in the
think of what
pool, I think
heroes are
we
left.
sometimes do need a little bit of help.
We'll get
we
to
talked
that.
about SF
We
earlier.
did talk about
but
SF earlier on, so Terrorblade's still open if they want it.
I think Team Empire's lineup is just pretty well-rounded. Nothing too special.
Where's the pizzazz, you know? Where's the pepper from Team Empire?
It's much more standard, isn't it?
It's very standard.
Yeah, much more standard.
No standard good. They don't have the right kind of disgusting sandwich that Red Eye likes.
No, quite. There's no real bad ingredient in there.
Weaver, is Weaver still in the pool?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a little bit slow when you already have OD, but it's quite nice to have versus Ursa, Rubik. Urspirit's a bit of a problem, but I want a pretty mobile and relatively active hero. Because you have good fighting supports in your Witch Doctor Ogre. You want something that takes advantage of the extra move attack speed from the Ogre as well. You need to be able to create some space for the OD to be able to work off of. You already have some lane shove with OD and Centaur. You just have to make sure you don't lose the team fights against Team Empire. I don't think Slark would have been the pickup, though.
Slark?
Oh, well.
Yeah, Slark was. I think Slark was way too slow.
There's
With
the Weaver.
with
You
OD. So
did talk about the Weaver as
Yeah,
well.
you pretty much call that Weaver.
yeah, I don't think they had too many options.
Yeah.
Thanks, Slark.
Pretty much almost a good job.
Good job, boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I almost passed.
All right.
Hooray! You got a D+.
We're all MVPs on this count. All right.
Everyone's a
Team
winner.
game.
Everyone's a winner on the panel, even Sir Action
me,
Slacks.
right.
As we head over to our commentary team for the final game of the evening. Do enjoy.
Repel me, Slacks.
Stop.
Thank you very much, Red Eye. And indeed, the final game of the final series that we're going to be showing here on the mainstream today, day one of DAC's group stages. We've had the drafts come through. Cap called it. It's that final pick, Weaver. And, I mean, do you like the Weaver here? It's a good kind of answer, do you feel, to Empire? But at the same time, do you feel Empire does have the lockdown required?
I have the lockdown at certain stages. Weaver likely to eventually get a Lincoln, so at a certain point, you're not afraid of the Batrider as a catch, and you're going to have to rely on the Earth Spirit with the AoE of the Silence and the Boulder Smash. So I think it's good. It hits good timings. It's nice in early game, kind of oriented carry to create space for the OD, so I think it's the right kind of tempo for Faceless, which you've got to have a pretty fast tempo against a team like Empire who play that kind of CIS fighting style. Maybe not quite as aggressive as they perhaps should, but I think it's a hero that can definitely work for Black. And it's a comfort hero. I think Black's always been a player who excels most when he's on comfort picks. That's why they even give him Pudge some games. They're like, look, Black is a player who I think more than other carries needs to be on a hero he feels good on.
And, of course, you know, worth noting as well, looking back at what Empire have, Miposhka, we've seen him pull out pretty much the Monkey King every game they played, haven't they? Now he's on the Earth Spirit. And this is what he used to do. You know, this was Miposhka's hero when we first kind of saw him about a year ago, really, in the previous iterations of Team Empire.
Yep.
And he was devastatingly good. So you've got to keep your eyes out for what Miposhka's able to perform in this series. We obviously saw in the other game XY showing us what he could do on the side of Faceless. We'll see if Miposhka is able to step up his own game. And also worth talking about as well, that final pick from Empire, finishing off with a Shadow Fiend. We've already seen at least one today, haven't we, from Envy. And FN is going to be showing us the CIS style, see what he can pull out on the SF. But it's going to have that OD to deal with in the mid lane. But I guess is this kind of a matchup where you expect both heroes to find farm, or is someone going to struggle?
Both heroes theoretically find farm. SF does fine once he gets souls. If he doesn't get early souls, he struggles. And I feel like it's a matchup that isn't going to come down to a 1v1, but going to come down to the Ogre versus Earth Spirit, who can have the better influence there. Where the lane equilibrium starts, it looks like Earth Spirit going to be doing the early block, so it'll be a Dire favored lane equilibrium theoretically. So I'm curious to see, just how the support play matches up there, because I think that's going to decide the matchup more so than the 1v1 or the skill of the two mid laners.
Yeah, it looks like at the moment from the side lanes, I wonder if we're going to get anything interesting coming out. King R just coming across to catch eyes on what's up from Faceless. XY indeed already in the neighborhood around this mid lane on the Ogre. And they will be sending the Centaur top, keeping Black down on the bottom. And he'll be having to deal with this off-lane. Batrider does have the backup, of course, of Nuts there on the Witch Doctor. And Witch Doctor are very much a kind of the classic, it feels like, support combination that we saw Faceless do a lot in previous lands. I remember at Dota Pit, like Witch Doctor was pretty much always there for them.
They more than a lot of teams run like 2 hard 5s in some games. I feel like both XY and Nuts often get, neither of them ever gets farm, but what they get instead is a lot more farm on their offlaner than most teams, and get all 3. They run through like 3 core lineups where Ice gets a lot of farm even if he's not playing like a traditional farming hero, because of how much of an impact he has on games.
I mean, look at this as well. Ice, he was looking at one of the cams, but King R pretty much just came across and chased him all the way out. You know, Ice straight up with the Iron Talon was looking to do cams, but King R causing issues already.
Yeah, good job recognizing that. Ice is going straight into the jungle with the Iron Talon, knowing that he can't really match up against Ursago's Boots, Windlace, starting items. Like,
that's scary.
You ain't going near him.
Mid lane, FN being gone on a bit. In comes the roll from Miposhka. Just making sure that they can't chase down FN for more.
Yeah, FN's got his souls, though, at least enough souls. He's got 8 of them early on, 4 of those coming from Deny, so should be able to at least transition pretty well and continue to last hit now that he's got at least a decent baseline of damage output.
Once again, I mean, we're seeing, obviously, both teams at least commit one support to the mid lane. Empire keep bringing King R back in. And Irish going to look for the lead in here. They'll get XY down onto the river. And that's going to be your first blood by the looks of it. In fact, can they get it first? You see the trade potentially as Jabs is moving up, trying to find FN. He's out there as he taunts his way up to the high ground. As Jabs will be able to back up. And they're incredibly low there on Empire, but Jabs just unable to find the kill in return.
FN doesn't even want to go shrine. He's like, there's creeps to hit, guys. Until I need that shrine, I'm hitting some creeps here. Perhaps soon he'll fall back and decide, all right, I might miss a range creep.
Ghost Sticks just come across from the bottom lane looking for a courier snipe. I mean, why not?
Move. Yeah, almost gets it too. Unpredictable move is what that is, and I think that's where those kind of plays often work, because you're just not expecting a Batrider of all heroes to be swooping in, going for a courier snipe. So really, I feel decent start. I mean, the SF isn't necessarily doing all that well in terms of farm and CS, but getting the kill, the first blood to go their way. I
mean, FN just messing around with the taunts here in the mid lane, and well, he's going to be taunting from the grave, as they will get the kill this time around. Faceless, Miposhka unable to turn up in time to help slow them down. And yeah, SF clowning around a little bit in the middle lane, and it's all good news for Jabs now after he gets involved in the kill, and now sitting at double the CS of FN.
Yep. Swing things Radiant favored. He went for the double null. I was like, surprised just how well he's doing, considering the SF got early souls, but the double null giving him extra last hitting potential. He's got Bloodlust early on. He's got for a couple points in Astral, so yeah, this is a much better outcome for the lane. And the Ogre typically has the slight edge against the Earth Spirit in terms of like the 4-position matchup around this mid lane. Just being tankier, being able to throw a bit more harass, and also that early value point in Bloodlust is really nice for the OD right click, so do feel like this lane has gone nice and well for them. But Ursa free farming, similarly Weaver free farming, very little separating these two right now. And it looks like as far as the supports go, Witch Doctor maybe with a little more in terms of farm and levels than the Rubik, since he's been able to probably use some of those side pulls a bit.
And we can see back towards the mid, there'll be a little bit of a potential movement maybe coming through from Ice and XY as they'll shrine up. But away from mid did leave potentially the OD to be a bit vulnerable. You can already see Miposhka's trying to get an angle from the back. He's moving across with his Invis rune. and would love to get something done here in this middle lane. FN a little low on the mana for multiple raises. Maybe they've got the damage if Jabs comes too far forward, but I mean already Ogre back in the neighborhood. It's very hard for Empire to make a go here.
He's got raindrops. Raindrops
Yeah.
at this stage is like an extra. I mean, even if just one procs, it's like an extra 100-ish HP. So they'll get him up to like, 900 plus HP. There's no killing the OD there with just those two.
Turn towards the bottom instead. Ghostic is being kind of proceeded upon by the members of Faceless. That's Nuts and Black looking to maintain control of the lane. Invis wears out, he'll head up to the high ground, ends up walking into an Ogre. Give him a little bit of a beat down, but Miposhka just kicks him away. And looking to just cause a bit of nuisance here for Faceless' supports as XY and Nuts are searching for him around in the jungle. But unlikely that they're going to catch Miposhka. He's still got 6 stones ahead.
Yeah, he might just try to drop some deep wards, keep eyes on the jungle where Isis has managed to get himself up to level 4.5, close to level 5 already. He's rotated into mid with King R though, so could be thinking about a setup here.
It's going to be hard though.
Yeah, they're ready. They're well ready for this.
Isis could be the better option.
Yep.
But again, he's pretty tanky. Is he tanky enough that that's the question? Well, we're hitting a 2-mana Who Stomp like that will allow him to walk it off. And the two of them, unable to finally kill him. Could be in trouble. Oh, this cast. Oh, that's beautiful there. The bounces in the Maledict. Miposhka's out. They will lose the Centaur, though.
This is a great rotation from Ursa.
Yeah, Ursa's just turned up suddenly by the Radiant Shrine, but Black's come across as well. And with Jabs moving over from the mid lane, they should be able to find more here. Chappie, can he get his way out? FN's trying to help out, but Chappie's gone. They've got the setup now as well onto FN. Miposhka will come back through trying to help, but the damage from Jabs and Black at this stage, it's too much here in this early game. With the Arcanes coming through, chasing down Miposhka. King R, can he save this man? Jabs, he's going to get it. The Jukes are attempted. They're not going to work out. They did end up losing Black, but at the end of the day, FL finding big kills. And a bit of a crazy fight there, moving from Radiant's half by their own shrine all the way over to Dire.
Yeah, I feel like initially the Ursa move going that aggressive was really nice, but didn't have a... If he had mana to also TP, I think it was out of mana or just didn't have a TP escape, would have gone a lot better for him, because that Weaver rotation is what kills Chappie.
And hello, top lane. Nice.
Nice.
Gives himself away. Empire getting a kill like that, I mean, it's kind of evening the board back up.
Yep. That sets things a lot better for them. Gets King R up to his Arcane Boots now as well, so they can sustain the mana and the spam on Ursa, who often has a bit of early game mana problems, so...
Nuts in a lot of trouble there. He's got a DD, it's not going to do anything for him though. Ghostic and Miposhka closing in onto the Witch Doctor. 6-6 now between the two of them. Net worth, as we can see, it's looking good for the Ursa. But it really is, it's going to be a lot of pressure, I feel, is on the Ursa. Because this is a hero that you have to get stuff done. You have to have that moment of the game where you're finding pick-off after pick-off, because it can fall off so easily, can't it, God?
Yeah, and he's going to be relying on like the Rubik, the Bat, even the Spirit for helping set up those pickoffs, because he's not going for a fast blink. He's going into the full Vlad. It's not just like a casual mass, so probably hoping to take like an early Roche and take objectives with his team, but as farmed as he is, he doesn't have that easy pick-off opportunity. And there will be a Centaur Stampede to deal with, even when you get some good initiations on heroes and you can just Stampede away from that Ursa, kite him around. Will be a
huge amounts of kite potential.
Yeah, Cask, Weaver is just good at kiting Astral. Ogo can Bloodlust teammates, slow the Ursa, stun him up. There's a lot of good options.
Nice. We're walking to a couple of them there, and in fact, they want to try and make a go for this. Looking towards Miposhka, straight out with the roll away. They break from Ghostic as well, just to hold back the advance of Faceless. So we'll get themselves back out to safety. Looks like as well with the Stampede usage, Jabs did make an attempt to go aggressive in the mid lane.
It's got the early Veil, which is really good stats more than anything. Probably one of the main reasons you buy this item first on a lot of heroes, but Magic Amp is also pretty nice with a lot of their heroes being predominantly magic damage outside of the Weaver, and even him, he's got Shikuchi damage, so never really a bad option for an OD when you're against a team with physical damage. I think the main thing about Veil is it's one of the nice early game items that gives you armor and has a good build up. The other armor items for like an OD are like not items you want to go, like Blade Mail, or I mean like you can get Tranquil Boots, which is pretty awful. Like there's not really any good cheap cost effective armor items. If you want to get a buckler or a mech on the OD really. Veil is kind of the best option there.
Bottom lane, Ghost Stick. Coming around with King R. Maybe seeing if they can find Black. It's a hard kill, though. I mean,
Yeah, without a
with
blink
the
too.
Earth Spirit, they've got a lot of control.
There's
But
no
do they have the damage?
No Stampede still. With the control, if they get the lasso and as well as the stun and the silence, I'd say absolutely. And telekinesis even. They've got spell steal for King R now as well. He's hit level 6, but it gets trickier now as Stampede comes online. So even if Weaver gets silenced, if there's a Stampede, he can get that max movement speed and still theoretically escape. So not easy to find pickoffs when Ice can just sit in the jungle, farm away, and then throw a Stampede if his teammates get ganked up. So perhaps this turns more into Team Empire just trying to farm up towards that Blink Dagger and look to use the Blink timing as the smoke opening for themselves.
Both offlaners, Ice and Ghost Stick on similar kind of states at the climb towards that Blink Dagger.
Yep. Even looking at the cores, ODSF, even it's the Weaver and Ursa where there's the main discrepancy between the two teams. Ursa's managed to farm just a little bit better in the safe lane. And being able to even get some jungle farm in the mix as well. And there we go, completes the Vlads nice and early on. So likely fast Roche coming out from Team Empire at this stage.
Smoke up from Faceless though. They are going to look towards the mid lane. They need to get over there because they're OD in a bit of trouble as the drag back comes through from Ghost Stick, but it's actually going to be King R.
Took no damage. You got lassoed. Like, where's the third hero? You can't go for that play without a third hero. That was just Rubik and Bat. SF is there or Ursa with either of their spells, like in DPS, yeah, you can get that kill, but with just Rubik and Bat, that was very ambitious. He didn't even get down to like 2/3 HP. He was lost like maybe 200-300 HP at most.
Empire will start to form a defense in the mid lane. 3 heroes at the moment, bringing in a 4th as King R comes back across. But again, hard for them to get the catch before they have that Blink Dagger on the back.
Faceless about to get pretty scary. It's like Ursa with no clear initiation. SF doesn't. Well, I guess he'll have his Shadow Blade soon. Batrider doesn't have his blink, and Faceless are going to have maxed out Bloodlust. They can just run around the map with this scary OD who's got this cost-effective Veil item, and just take fights. Fight with a Weaver pretty well. He doesn't have his Lincolns yet, but he's just got a lot of good, cheap, cost-effective stats.
We're looking for a potential setup. Talking about setup, I mean, the Astral Steel is not obviously something that's fairly easy for him to steal at this point, but it certainly offers a bit of setup potential. In fact, he's going to find Ice, and with the max Astral damage and a Fate Bolt, could bring him down low. King R is toying with the idea, but okay, with the stick charges, there's no way he can do it. Now with the Stampede, Faceless, Jimmy's have been rustled, and they are almost certainly going to punish King R for this one. As they surround him, they're not going to hit the Who Stomp, but with an angry Witch Doctor and an Ogre waiting down the stairs, they'll take him out, and King R has just got a little bit too cheeky for his own good.
Here comes the Requiem at bottom. Can he find the Weaver? Looks like he guesses wrong. He thinks Black was going to the jungle there, but it was not the case. If he found the Weaver and hit a full Requiem, it would have been a kill. Just couldn't quite guess and figure out where he'd gone. And the Radiant Ward will scout out that Shadow Blade pickup, so should be well aware of FN's item progression now. Sentries on the Witch Doctor. The Ogre does not have any currently, although Courier flying out, and that's got triple sentry. The immediate response to Shadow Blade, triples. It sucks so much when you see it as a support, because you're like, man, I almost had my Tranquil Boots, I almost had like, you know, like maybe even just like a Tomb, something you wanted, and suddenly it's like, I got to buy 3, 4, 5 sentries.
That's the risky bit. Chappie going for the Roshan attempt, and he gets it. They can't get there in time, but they get a beautiful 3-man Who Stomp coming straight in here, dropping the ult maybe a little bit early. It doesn't do too much at all. And in fact, Jabs is in trouble himself. Chappie turns towards him, takes down the OD. Black looking to focus towards Ghost Stick on the high ground. FN charging up the ult, but the Fire Blast is there in time from XY. Jumping again from Ice. Comes in with a 3-man Who Stomp.
Oh, the cast
and the Death Ward. Look at it go as Empire just get blown up by Faceless. Chappie's out once. They might be, they're going to be able to kill him a second time. Ice setting into position for the Who Stomp into the double edge, and that's going to be a full 5-man team wipe there. Faceless doing it absolutely perfectly, and Ice. And it was all kind of 3, one after another, beautiful Who Stomp, and he's not done yet. Talking about the man, back in he comes. Ice sets up another.
Well, 7 for 0, if you look at the Aegis as well.
My goodness there. Faceless bringing it all together, and
Look at that Centaur damage, 4.2k
Just-
damage. Most of that from
that
like
was
3-man
ridiculous.
double edges
Yeah.
and stuff. That is an absolutely insane team fight coming out from that Centaur.
Literally the dream there for us. Absolutely brilliant fight. And Empire are going to be truly rustled by that. They got the Aegis, but at the end, it didn't matter, gods. Just look at this play. First home stomp, straight away, 3 heroes.
He doesn't even know he caught the Shadow Fiend, is the funny thing
And look,
there
he
too.
backs away, preparing for the blink. He knows he's got to catch them off guard, and they may have lost jabs, but he doesn't care. He knows that he can get back in. Again, they group up on the high ground. He moves in, sees the opportunity, bam! Again, ice, and as you said, Nuts just beautifully getting in that cast, bouncing around. Ice blows up FN, and you think it's all over, you think he's done, but he ends up coming back in again for another one.
That was absolutely beautiful fight. Ice has been like, I mean, him and Universe have been like the clear top 2 offlaners in the world for quite some time, and he shows very different styles, and he shows that there his playmaking capabilities.
Immediately in onto the SF, looking to lock down one of the big
the
threats. And
cask
the cask bounces are beautiful, holding back Empire. They just can't get away with jumping in onto Faceless, and now they themselves in trouble. The Astrals there, setting up onto the Earth Spirit. Miposhka is almost certainly going to go out and down. He does get a nice 3-man bottle smash and will manage to throw out the Magnetize before he loses his life. But it's not going to be enough for Empire to do anything in order to turn that one around. And as you said, just the last few kills have all been going the way of Faceless. Empire struggling to bite back into them.
I said perhaps fortunate there the cast didn't go back to him immediately, otherwise he may have been locked in place and brought down as well. But very proactive, making sure they have sentries wherever they find. That's, again, the second they saw the Shadow Blade, Ogre said, all right, I'm not having fun this game. I'm buying sentries for... He's going to spend more money on sentries than anything else for the foreseeable future, but you've got to make sure SF doesn't get the jump on you. And wherever they go, wherever they move, they're going to have sentries on the ground. And that's the big thing in here. They haven't been able to get much use out of FN's Shadow Blade because of this constant detection.
I think still the impressive thing, I feel, that despite those last kind of 8 kills really that went Faceless this way, you look at the net worth of the heroes and still it's FN and Chappie that are at the top. They're in great positions.
It's not been Faceless running away with it. They haven't been able to turn kills into objectives at this point so much.
Well, XY actually able to survive the initial jump in, but he won't be able to survive the backup coming through as Empire throw themselves all in at the Ogre. Top lane though, Black, he's playing around with FN. FN has got the haste rune, and that might just save him this time, as indeed they can't quite chase him down. So FN will get himself out.
Low. It looks like FN went aggressive to try and kill Ice, but couldn't quite bring him down. And Ice will perhaps go for the solo shrine.
Empire looking to take a tower down from the bottom. Faceless will go for the traders. They themselves pushing onto the tier 1 top. And see if they want to do anything in reaction.
Well, they're gearing up. They're tipping towards their shrine.
And they want to try and catch someone off. I mean, FN again with the Shadow Blade lead in. They have that blink, but again, XY sentry laying down. Beautifully done. I mean, FN's going to be... He's going to be like, how do they know it each and every time?
They caught him with the blink,
Ice is gone. Yeah. And Chappie, he's moving in for more. The Astral holds him back. Border smash from Miposhka onto 2. This could be the fight that Empire have been looking for. They'll take Nuts as well. The rest continue to retreat. Chappie making a chance to find the OD. He's hiding in the tree line. Ghost Stick, yeah, he's not going to look for those two. They want to try and get jabs. And here, King R with the stolen Astral to set things up into the Astral. But all the jukes are real. The Astral comes out from himself. He'll dodge the ult, but he won't dodge his death as they still clean him up, despite the flashy plays.
Yep. And that's on point again with the Sentry Observer, but they were anticipating perhaps an SF rotation in, but they weren't anticipating Empire to respond and move at such a speed with all those heroes. The Batrider being there as well, catching out the Centaur, not all committing to the Ogre. You don't want to throw any spells on that Ogre. You want to kind of just ignore him and go for those key heroes. Centaur had Stampede. He was also still half HP. He hadn't managed to regen up much from the Shrine or the Tranquils. He only got up to like 700-800 HP, so he was a pretty easy kill for them considering how low he was, and that made a big difference taking him out. Once he's dead, the fight's over for Faceless. They've got to just throw cask, run, and try and cut their losses, but Faceless got chased down. Really puts Empire in a pretty good spot here. They've got the blink on Ursa, they've got the blink on Bat, they've got this great chasing combo. They will be eyeing off probably that next Roshan, but by then we'll probably see a bit of item progression from the Faceless side and perhaps a bit more teamfight presence from even Black, who has completed the Lincoln Sphere, so he doesn't have to worry about. He can be more a frontliner, not having to worry about that lasso directly as much, but does have to worry about the Earth Spirit, perhaps more so than the lasso now with this Lincoln's.
And items continuing to rack up, of course, for the side of Empire as well. Off the back of that, you know, this is a Shadow Fiend with Boots of Travel complete, as well as the Dragon Lance and Basher now complete and done, coming out to Chappie.
Huge chunk of gold going his way from that last fight, and really greedy build, this Boots of Travel Shadow Blade, but it just allows you to be super mobile, find these pickoffs, hunt down heroes like Weaver, who may be solo split pushing lanes as well. Even Ice, like, he's so low on HP. He's constantly farming and using this double edge to farm, but it's come at the cost of his own health at a lot of these different times, so he does need to be a little bit careful with how he plays things.
See Empire making a beeline for the mid lane.
Yeah, smoked up too. And the 4-staff being the item timing that they're looking to play around now. You've got that pull into your team with the Bat Rider, but problem is they saw the Weaver, and you can use the 4-staff to break Lincolns, but it's not really ideal scenario.
All right, they go lead and they'll take what they can get on the front lines. XY immediately taken out. There'll be the Stampede then. That's actually going to buy the time for XY to survive. They've got this Fire Blast onto Chappie. Chappie cast up as well. The bounce is coming through, holding Rubik and Earth Spirit in place on the sidelines. But Faceless won't look to proceed up to the high ground. They respect that Empire has this power now at this stage, and they just have to take the fights and pretty much times when they themselves are forcing it. They've got to be so careful when Empire are the ones jumping in.
Empire were ready to turn once the Stampede wore off. They even planted an Observer Ward just on that ramp. It's nighttime. The vision isn't the best at that stage, so they made sure they were, if a fight broke out around that river area, they could see across, catch heroes behind. SF can figure out where he wants to position Shadowblade into the back lines. Well, speaking of Shadowblade into the back lines,
he's found Ice low, and that's going to be Ice down. I mean, you already mentioned he's getting greedy with the farm. He's keeping himself low, and it can cost him his life. Black coming across. There's the immediate silence. Beautiful play from Miposhka. Very quick with the setup, and that'll be more than enough to allow them to get it. Nice. Lincoln's isn't going to save you from the pull.
Yeah, nice chain pickoffs coming out from Faceless, and I feel like Faceless are playing this game in a very kind of greedy way with the center, especially just playing a more farming style, trying to hit the Zags timing. OD's gone for the Midas. Like we're not really seeing Faceless try and take head-on engagements. They're just trying to just continue to farm their jungle, be greedy, be split apart, and Empire just finding ways to pick them apart. They're still down on kills, but the last like 4 or 5 key kills have all come from Team Empire's side, and this one no different. They find XY as well. Not a key kill by any means, but it's a pick-off nonetheless. Constant picks by Empire's gank squad.
It really is just a testament to it's just crazy just how different the net worth is. That this SF, despite the action seeming pretty even, he's just been farming that much better. He's nearly got 200 CS. He's been hitting those old creeps, and a 4K lead at the moment against the more so 3K against the OD.
He kind of came out of the lane stage a little bit behind, and he just fell back to the jungle, farmed the jungle for like the next 5-10 minutes. Didn't really teamfight that much, which is why you saw him fall behind. Like we saw not him, but the team fall behind on kills a bit. But once he got his Shadowblade up, he went for a few kill attempts, didn't really have much luck, and he said, all right, I didn't find kills, I'll just farm the jungle, farm Ancients. SF has been able to heavily outfarm the OD of Jabs. He does, I think, accidentally get smoked with his team. It looked like they were trying to go for a 4-man smoke behind Jabs, and I believe Jabs was on the creep wave as he got smoked, so this may... Well, it doesn't look like they're showing signs that they're aware the smoke is coming their way.
Ooh, and here with the Stampede looking to chase down FN. They have the Dust as well. FN has Miposhka with him. He's going to try for the TP out, but he's immediately getting astraled. Miposhka out first, and Faceless, they surround the SF, and they'll take down another big kill as he's down for a full minute. And that will certainly allow the time and space for Faceless to start to catch back up with their cause.
Yeah, that felt crucial for the core, namely the SF. I think you're less worried about the Ursa. Something Kat mentioned during the panels, they much more play around FN, where they're not worried about Chappie getting kited so much or saying as an Ursa, because FN's going to be the main core. So if you can kill him, it's a much bigger deal than killing an Ursa at this stage, and getting a 2-fer is kind of just a little icing on the cake there as Faceless.
Ghostix looking for the setup, comes in immediately with the lasso onto the OD. They will put the Lincolns onto him, but it isn't going to save him from the claws of Chappie. Empire take down OD. Black goes towards Ghostix. Faceless are going to try and fight back. Ghostix still with a little bit of time left on the Firefly, gets himself down on the low ground, goes for the TP out. Isn't going to make it. The damage is too much from Black. Faceless get a kill in return. And they're looking for more, in fact. Turning towards Chappie. The silence there just in time to stop the Fire Blast. The Fade Bolt comes through, but now the cast bounces. The Death Ward as well. Chappie's falling low, but it's the Magnetize from Miposhka that's doing the most of the work. Ice trying to get himself the hell out of there. King R comes across with the right click, brings him down, and Empire are turning it around. They've taken down 4. Black's on the retreat as well. Can they catch the Weaver? That is the question. Doesn't look like they can. He's a little too slippery, but Empire there, as we're seeing, just with the potential to really turn things around. And Faceless taking the fight when Stampede still wasn't quite available. And they have got that Axe. If they had that there, it would have been a totally different story, but they didn't have it on.
It was like 5 seconds away, like a millisecond after dying, or like before dying, it came back up, and it just felt like an odd time to go chasing that aggressively without Stampede. If they just waited a little bit, then they would have been able to take that fight with Stampede. You get that phase movement over cliffs and stuff, and not to mention the damage block would have made a big difference for them as far as going as aggressive as they did. And now they've got to fight into an Aegis on SF. He's got the BKB to go with it. Defend is going to be very hard to fight into, and he's about to get that +2 damage per soul. So say hello to +70 damage on Shadow Fiend.
Rubik picking up the gem as well. They can maintain that map control and also, of course, have eyes on Black as he tries to weave in and out of the fights.
Yep. Good time in the game to get it. You just secured an Aegis. You got the BKB on SF. This is the state of the game where you've kind of, not that you can't go late game, but you're a lot stronger than Faceless. Once this Aegis expires and the game goes another 10-15 minutes, the difference in strength between the two teams is going to get smaller and smaller, even though Empire's draft is totally okay in the late game. You just want to use the fact that Faceless have no way to fight you. They don't have Black's Deso. His damage output is very negligible. It's coming mostly from the Swarm and some like slight right-click damage. He doesn't, until he has the Deso, it's not all that scary. Even same for the OD. We don't see that big in item just yet. Has Force Staff, Veil, like a lot of these cheap, cost-effective items. It's going to go for a Lincoln's, a defensive item, which is, I think, fine for this game. But again, neither of these carries is dishing out quick burst damage.
XY, we'll walk straight into this one. Empire quick to find the pick, immediately in. The rest of Faceless just getting themselves the hell out of there. They don't want to try and fight into that sort of a jump.
This is where you just want to play on the enemy side of the map, get deep wards down, take out any Radiant Vision you can find with this gem, which, yeah, they've given over to Ghost Stick on the bat. And Ice, I think, well aware of what Empire's game plan is going to be. He wants to split push, which is not really something Centaur excels at, but he can do very well. He's got return. He clears creep waves very quickly, and if he gets on top of a tower and the tower's hitting him, the return actually brings down towers quite nicely. So he's playing at the top side of the map. Problem is, if Batrider's missing, it's hard to split push, because even if you see the other 4 heroes with Bat missing, you can get caught, and that's exact. Bat's going to TP. He's looking
Can he get
for
the
Ice,
chase
Ice, Ice.
down? That Stampede is certainly helping.
It's going to wear off, and yeah, Daryl is...
He's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
King R coming across as well. Shikuchi's in. Immediate lift.
It's kind of like his job, though. Like, you've got to be split pushing. You can't fight into the Aegis, BKB, and you've got to split push. So
And an icing on the cake as well, Gods. He was able to snag the Stampede before he kills him.
pretty nifty. It's about to have very helpful for the Batrider when he initiates. So do like this. Helps the Ursa a lot when he's kind of getting kited by annoying stuff in a fight. So we'll see if they can actually break high ground here. They've got decent high ground siege. SF's now, I think he only recently, he went back with the Boots of Travel to the Dragonlance. He just dropped his BKB there. Yeah, he is.
FM with the taunts. He's having a good time.
He knows he's versing Ice, and you better hope you win this game, because we'll be seeing some taunts from Ice if this game does not go Empire's way. But right now it's looking very good for them as FN onto the high ground he goes.
Fortifications come out from Faceless. Empire backing off.
Yeah, he just still got a decent chunk of time left, but it does look like they want to just fall back, farm a bit more. With the Centaurs respawn, they don't feel fully confident continuing and committing to this high ground siege. Black's Deso just about to be completed, so there'll be a nice boost in his damage. Mostly, like, he needs to just try and find some of those pesky supports like Earth Spirit within the Swarm Beetles, so he can right-click them down. The squishier targets. Batrider's also a good target if he can catch, just a bit trickier to find because of how elusive Bat can be. He goes in for a lasso, he full staffs himself out, he doesn't really stand in the middle of the fight too often. That's only really like a Shadow Fiend who's doing that. And Shadow Fiend's not really the ideal target to go for as a Weaver. Even when he doesn't have an Aegis, I still kind of don't feel like that's the best hero to be targeting. Ursa is the worst of all five to be hitting. He's got decent armor with the Vlads, and the Enrage just makes him
near unkillable. He's kind of the frontline tank for the SF at this point. Any kills he can get is just icing on the cake, and he will find kills. He's got Basher, BKB, Blink.
And as we can see FN queuing up the butterfly, which is certainly going to be an issue. You know, OD's not going to want to build an MKB, and Weaver is a long way away from that option.
Yep. This is the item that allows you to siege high ground pretty effectively as well. But Aegis will be expiring, so at least they can try and burst him down with magic damage. Not that they've got the best magic damage to do that with.
And they come, Empire cutting across. They have these wards here. They know what's up. They know that Faceless is there. Winning the vision game at the same time, though, Faceless themselves do still have vision over this area. They'll see Chappie come up, and they'll see the rest of them. Immediate D-Ward and Empire, they know that the jig is up. They can't go for the kill. Aegis has now expired. So maybe Faceless, if keeping time of that, will feel a bit more confident in themselves trying to find a fight, but still, just FN is so massive at this stage.
Yeah, it feels like OD's a good item or two behind. Weaver, same thing, like maybe an item behind, but the OD is one who really feels far behind because of all the small items he's got. Midas isn't like a fighting item by any means. Force, Veil. He hasn't got any true big item yet. And when he's still a good couple thousand gold away from a big item. And even that is going to be the Lincoln's a defensive option that doesn't help at all against Shadow Fiend. So just protects him from that bad initiation. Does feel like Jabs needs a lot more for Faceless to turn this game, but we'll see. Good initiations, like around that Roche pit, we saw multiple 3-hero stomps. Something like that is going to be more than enough to win Faceless fights. They're far from out of this game, as much as they are being out-farmed and out-maneuvered so far.
I mean, if you're Empire, I guess you just continue to play it safe and wait for the next Roche before you try anything. Is there any kind of pressure, do you feel, if this game does scale on? Or is Empire confident in their draft?
It's always scary going as an inexperienced team, going later into the game, but it's also sometimes what you want to do because you feel like you don't have that maybe experience pushing high ground with that Aegis or without an Aegis, which is probably one of the things where they are saying, let's wait for Roche. So I think the inexperience will lead them to play more cautiously, but the problem is the longer the game goes, and even if you have this very cautious mindset, ultimately more mistakes will present themselves, and you can't always have this mentality where you're playing not to lose. You have to sometimes go for those aggressive game-winning plays. That's something which Ice is amazing at. He's really good in these clutch moments. He's not afraid of taking risks. Sometimes he comes up short, but he'll always go for those big playmaking moves, and I think that's where Faceless is a scary team to go late game against. Not so much because of draft, but just because of players and experience. But as it stands, Empire at least holding their own, just going to try and force them back at this top lane, it looks like. Faceless will get 2 towers out of this, so again, these are the kind of trades where Faceless, they're experienced, they just know they're getting decent exchanges out of this. They do want to try and defend the tier 3 tower though.
They've got to get back here. This Shadow Fiend.
Oh, and Bat's looking for picks at bottom, he's already TP'd in.
Can he catch anyone on the retreat? Black would be a big one, and Black could be in trouble. Do they have the control?
We already used the Force, yeah.
Okay, no way to break the Lincolns.
Her Spirit looked like TP was just a little. He wasn't the first TP to the Shrine. If he TP to the Shrine before the Shadow Fiend or Rubik, I want to say was the first. Might have been a different scenario. But yeah, it's a really good exchange. You trade what tier 1 and tier 2 for the tier 2 tower top and damage on the tier 3. Not something to be ignored, but as long as you don't lose the tier 3. Losing the tier 3 means losing shrines, which means losing a lot of access points in the map. But you've still got those if you want to consider contesting next Roche. But again, Faceless one of these veteran experienced teams at this point that may just say, we don't feel strong enough to fight Roche. We can play for the late game, defend high ground. I do feel like giving up an Aegis, though, is likely giving up bare minimum a tier 3 tower and probably a lane of racks at this point, just with how strong this SF is getting. So I imagine their inclination is going to be towards contesting Roche if possible. And they're smoking. They know Roche respawn is any minute now. They want to find a pick and secure Roche for themselves. Black even has a DD rune, so this is the perfect time to actually take a fight.
At the same time, though, Empire as well, realizing the timing, smoking up. Black's revealed himself in the mid lane.
Both teams scan and miss each other for now.
Who's going to get the jump? That's the question. Black working as a bit of a bait at the moment, but immediately Empire jumping. They'll get the last off and they take...
Astral.
Oh, the Astral, indeed. That's going to buy time for him to potentially get the time that's out. And then, no, he can't. The telekinesis was there too quickly. King R gets the grab. Empire take down Black, and they're looking for more. Jab's in trouble, and then he's out as well. But Nuts is managing to kill off 2 on the backlines there with the Witch Doctor and his Death Ward. But overall, Empire, they've found the 2 cores, and they're not done yet. Miposhka looking for the chase down onto XY. FN just slides forward with the Hurricane Pipe, but not quite enough indeed. XY will survive, but still, it is Empire getting those 2 cores around this key point. Roshan's back up. They can head into the pit, take it down incredibly quickly. That's what matters here, really. Having control of this, getting the Aegis, and suddenly you've got to be scared if you're Faceless, because you're dealing with a push with having FN, as big as he is, being able to just frontline, and he can do it twice.
Yeah, that's the objective approach where, yeah, the kill trades was not really won by either team, but in terms of objectives, getting a Roche to follow it up is a big win for Empire at this point. And for a team who looking to close out a game, having an Aegis is one of the safest ways to do so. So they'll start sieging. Likely this top lane, they've already done most of the damage to the tier 3 tower, and generally a lot easier to push high ground through the side lanes rather than the mid lane. A lot harder to initiate for the defending team, since they are limited by the borders of the map when defending a side lane versus the mid lane, so a lot harder to split up and spread apart. And Empire are headed towards that top lane for now. SF's still down bottom, but he'll have the boots to travel and likely be able to join up with his team pretty easily if needed.
Faceless coming out as a group on this top lane.
Yeah, they're not going to try jump or anything. Looks like they're using the vision advantage. They see SF, so they're like, we can push out this lane. SF's not here right now, so taking advantage of that little bit of knowledge just to get a bit greedier at the top here.
It's so hard for them to get a jump. I mean, Ursa's on the front lines, but he has the cheese.
Yeah, you can't really chain stun him down that well. No good. I mean, Centaur stun, Cask is like okay, but it's not like a long enough stun. Same for the Fire Blast. The damage output isn't going to kill the Ursa, I imagine. There's enough like disruptive capabilities from a Boulder Smash or Batrider can lasso someone that it's just not going to be a kill. And here comes the SFTP in, so ready to start sieging. And as mentioned, I feel like this is very hard to defend this lane of Rax. It's going to take like an overextension from Empire. They're very likely just going to slow siege it with the Butterfly SF, but you can just, chip away at him as much as possible. Anytime he walks close, throw spells. You want to try and take the Aegis for free or like for very cheap. You can trade like maybe like a Stampede for a SF Aegis. Like that's an okay exchange here in terms of being able to defend your high ground, but easier said than done. Batrider is always going to be looking for that pick off.
I mean, just looking at Empire's position, ready to jump whoever comes forward, and there's XY immediately in and immediately out. FN's damage far too much for this Ogre to deal with on the front of it all.
That was a cheeky little thing. Put the Ogre on the front line to try and zone the SF. Give him a Lincoln so he doesn't get lassoed, but get Reckless down. Not going to work that way.
FN just waltzing up and forcing Jabs to back away. It's just so hard for Faces to do anything about this. They've got the Deso and the Maelstrom on black. So a bit of damage, but with the jump in, Boulder Smash back's in trouble. Stampede comes out, the defensive Astral as well. Will buy time for him. FN's looking for the timing though, and he gets it perfectly. FN on the SF, taking the Weaver out for a full minute. No buyback is available on black. So Empire, at the least, they'll be able to clean up this top set of racks. With all the tier 2s already down, they might even be able to get more here, Gods.
Yeah, they should look for more. They're very strong. Now, even if they're uncertain of Weaver's buyback, you want to force it out. You've got an Aegis. There's no reason for FN to be scared on the front lines.
Jabs gets jumped on. Good hoof stop in return. They throw out the cast, but the silence is there. He can't get the Death Ward out, this Witch Doctor. Jabs is falling low. He will Astral himself, but they've lost Ice Ice Ice. Ice 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 does have buyback available. So does Jabs. They will get themselves back in. The Witch Doctor doesn't, but he's only down for 15. He'll be back very shortly. So they may be able to hold on to this mid at the end of it all. Jabs will take out the Aegis. There's your buyback from Ice Ice Ice. They really want to hold on to this mid set of racks. Coming in again, but the Boulder Smash onto 2. The silence as well from Miposhka. He rolls straight in onto Ice Ice Ice. He tries to crawl his way back to base. He isn't going to make it. Chappie looking for Jabs. The Fire Blast is there. Maledict's on him as well, but he pops the cheese. Chappie's all right for the time being. They'll look to continue to chase. Nuts. Death Ward 35 seconds, of course. But at the least, Faceless will manage to push them back. He drops the sanities. Not enough to get the kill, though. Chappie's out. FN as well.
You wanted the kills on the retreat there. Not getting kills as the Weaver respawns on the retreating Empire is ultimately not really a hold for Faceless. Yeah,
2 buybacks expended. 2
buybacks to save your mid lane of Rex. Feels like Empire are going to be even, I mean, they are going to be even further ahead in terms of farm and item progression. They're even going to find themselves, if they want to, able to just wait for the next Roshan, Aegis, cheese again. And with how underfarmed like the cause of Faceless are at this point, having to buy back on jabs. Weaver committed to a Maelstrom, but is ultimately very underfarmed as well. There's no real easy way to move out of the base and take fights because SF is 2-3 items ahead. Ursa's a couple of items ahead. Batrider's got a BKB. He's as farmed as your Weaver and your OD, and things are just getting worse and worse as time goes on.
FN just had an absolutely brilliant game. Just the whole match we've seen, the two cores of Faceless really struggled to keep up with the pace that Empire have been able to achieve this lineup.
Yeah, FN's really emerged as like one of the big star mid players in the CAS region. Like he's kind of replaced some of like the old guard players like maybe G and stuff have kind of fallen off a bit, and FN's come in to replace them as like these very young, promising players. Same for players like No One and Ramsey if you look at like to VP, but this is Empire's answer to those CAS players. And it's working so far here in game number 2 against Faceless. This is, I mean, this win I feel like more important for Faceless because getting the 3 points for the win is big. For Empire, it's like, you got to draw, you get 1 point, but obviously you want to stop Faceless getting those 3 points. So, and Empire had a win earlier today, so this would still leave them on a respectable
Faceless.
4 points.
They're going for the big bull smoke. Will it pay off?
And fight while there's no Aegis is kind of the mentality here.
They'll see FN, they'll get the jump in with the who's stopping immediately on the backlines. The silence from Meposhka, forcing OD to back off. OD's out and down, Ice ripped apart as well. Black on the retreat, but they've already lost 3 on Faces. They don't have buyback, and GG is called. All too much for them here in game 2 as Empire are able to swing the series round and take a win back off the side of Faceless.
Yeah, Empire showing what they're made of here at DAC. I mean, they had a win at the start of the day. Now they walk away with a draw, and this is a Group A that's still very open. I feel there's a clear favorite in Team OG, but as far as second place goes, I mean, you have Wings, who started off with a loss, then turned around with a win against VGJ. VGJ had a draw, then a loss. You've got teams like Faceless, who have been top dogs in SCA for some time. This is a team I feel Faceless, if they want to get second in this group, they needed to beat Empire. Similarly for Empire, a draw is actually okay here because they started with a win. They're still sitting on 4 points. They've had a really good day, and you can see their Faceless looking a bit stumped. That feels like a game they just want. I mean, they probably feel like going in the series they needed to and should have beat Empire, and the fact that the result didn't go their way is definitely going to upset them a bit and perhaps not be the best sign going into day number 2.
Oh, for sure. And as you said, yeah, this day is going to be great for Empire's morale. Coming to this LAN with this lineup, a lineup we're yet to see play on a LAN performance. First 2 series, a win and a draw, they'll certainly take that. And as you mentioned it kind of during the cast, FN really being a bit of a star player there. His Shadow Fiend performance, pretty much perfect. What, 13-4 for 6, farm, just incredible.
He's been really good. Phil Meposhka has had a great day as well. His Monkey King had the one game where he fed quite a lot, but I still feel he played really well even as he died a lot. King R's been good. I feel like maybe the one player needs to maybe step up moving forward. Who had a good game here. Chappie on the Ursa was very good, but I feel like as a whole, he needs to maybe do a bit more in some of their games, be a bit more active. But Empire is definitely looking very promising as a CIS representative.
Absolutely. And well, with that note, we'll head back to the panel as we finish the last of the games here today and hear what they have to say about Empire's nice little end to the day of day 1.
Yes, thank you very much to Owen and to Gods. Of course, they'll be back on day 2 for more action from DAC 2017. We're going to wrap up the final match of the night and also talk about the day as it's unfolded, show you the final tables as they stand this evening. There is one game going on stream 2 right now as well, which is still being played out. MP and IG fighting out that one. But first, Cap and Cap, you made a point. You made the point that you wanted to see them greedier. Yeah. Don't necessarily since that we got that, but they definitely fought better this time, much more like a CIS team.
Yeah, they did. I think they really stuck with the game plan of just like grouping up and fighting a lot. I think one of the best signs that I saw was Chappie very early on as the Ursa just went past that tier 1 tower and helped his allies out and made an aggressive maneuver. I really liked that play by him. It was this play right here where, Faceless get this beautiful cast combination, but Chappie comes in and cleans it up and actually makes it a pretty okay fight for Empire. It leads into something really nasty as, they kind of get chased down and they don't, group up quite enough and they don't really respect the OD. And I thought they were just going to straight up lose off of that and then this hoof stomp.
Can we talk about this? Ice. I mean, I know Shadow Fiend was big, but look at Ice. I mean, he's just landing these 3 over and over again in this team fight. He's going to come back in again here. And just look at this beauty. It's like watching a Slardar. I've never seen a Centaur with this much impact before.
Yeah, and then they get this double cask. It's like
Oh.
everything looks good for Faceless at this point. But the thing is, like, Empire had a lineup that was designed to fight at 20, 25 minutes, and Faceless just let them set that tempo. You know, like, Empire was just like, they ripped their shirt off. They're like, fight me, bro. And Faceless was, instead of just like shaking their head and walking away and doing some farming, they actually fought them over and over and over again, and it ends up losing them the game. I don't know if that was just like Faceless thinking they could outfight them, but it kind of cost them the game, honestly.
Yeah,
Like, Faceless could have played a lot more pickoff
And
ones.
it's not the first time we've seen that happen today to Faceless. They did it early on in the day as well. They were ahead very early game, 10, 15 minutes, doing well. Everything seemed to be going well, getting the right team votes, and suddenly they just capitulate mid-game and lose the match. So it's not the first time we've seen it today.
Those guys are alpha males, man. You take off their shirt, they're going to take it off too. They're going to fight. Get real dirty. And that's what we saw all game. Just constant battling. What was the end score? Is it like 40 kills in 30 minutes or something? It's disgusting.
This is why Dota 2 Pro scene is full of betas, though. Slacks.
Because
betas are winners.
The
so.
betas survive in Dota. I've learned something
Yeah,
new.
I don't know. It was just like, I felt so good about Faces winning this game in the first 20 minutes, and then they just fought over and over again in that 20 to 35-minute marker where Empire were very clearly, I think, going to be their strongest. And let the SF get really big. The Ursa had a constant impact in these team fights because they just kept going and
Much better,
and
as
going.
God's pointed out. Chappie had a much better game this time round.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know. I think Faceless just need to take a step back when they do win some of these early games, and take a step back and still realize certain timings of their lineup as well as the enemy team's lineup, and still abide by those timings, right? Just because you've won the early game doesn't mean you can win out the mid game if the enemy team has a stronger lineup at that point in time. Don't play into their hands so much, you know?
And you said they needed more discipline as well, and I think we saw that in that second game. It was much more discipline, wasn't it? Much more patient from Empire.
Absolutely. I
Final
mean,
stats.
that was it. FN, look at that. The whole story is told right there. 25,000 damage. Yeah, just miles ahead. Except for a Chappie, but that's an Ursa. That doesn't count. Gentlemen.
Why doesn't it count?
It doesn't count. It's an Ursa. His damage
Okay.
is going to be off.
Ursa doesn't have any AoE damage like SF, who just lets out of his ultimate.
Doesn't
It's like
count.
5
Just do as much
5,000
damage as they can
there.
everywhere else.
Oh, okay. They've chose our match MVP.
Yeah,
for it.
MVP was FN.
How dare you? I would argue against that.
No arguing. That's the result, Slacks. It's on the screen. It's on TV. Therefore, it happened.
No, it absolutely was. I mean, as we said before, there is an art to Dota. You can be very aggressive. You can be a murderer, but you still got to farm. And this guy knows how to do it. I mean, he was ahead of the